There he is. Still like a pretty good one here. Decent one. Drop those power poles down. He's going where he wants to go. And that is under the boat. Goodness, fish, you're strong. Good one. Big old chunky bass right there. Got a mouthful of that Spro Little John. Good way to start the day right there. That's what you want to, we are out here on a day that is pre-cold front, springtime. Wind's gonna come up tomorrow. Temperature's gonna drop about 20 degrees. Water temperature's 60, 62 right now. I bet it climbs up. It's a fatty. This is that kind of weather you see a lot of fishermen, and boat ramp was full of them. Everybody wants to get out and go. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go fishing, chunking, winding, dragging soft plastics. We'll see what the day unfolds. When you get a chance to fish when the conditions are perfect, you learn so many things that are gonna help you when fishing conditions are not perfect. A perfect storm to me in the spring is a warming trend. You've had a consistent warming trend with warm nights. I think warm nights are really key because the water temperature never gets a chance to drop. And then during that period, say there's a cold front coming, and man, those fish will just fire and bite. They'll hit moving baits. They just seem to go nuts before that cold front hits. Add in the chance that they're spawning around that same time and you can catch fish in less than 5 foot of water. You kind of have the recipe for a great day of fishing. That's why I always have several different crankbaits tied on in this type of a situation, because the grass edge that I'm fishing that I want to target these fish on, I mean, it's 2 to looks like maybe 5 feet, and that little John MD that I'm throwing, it runs a little bit deeper than that. And I want to be over top of that grass. You hear people talk about ticking the grass, hitting the grass. I always think that's a key thing to be able to do. And I mean, in theory, these fish should be shallower than 8 feet. So we'll kind of keep a bait wet and let the fish tell us what they want. Oh, right at the boat. He's not very big. He just mean bit us right at the boat. I mean, that's all line I pretty much had out, maybe one crank in there, and he made a slash. I'm just kind of running down this bank looking for some hydrilla. It just feels like those kind of conditions that I like to wind a bait, whatever it may be. Right now, I'm mixing up between the Spro Speed Demon, which goes a lot shallower than this. This is the Spro and Little John MD. And my whole thought process is to try to get an active and aggressive bite, as many of them as I can, and cover as much water as I can, find ones that want to bite.
Coming up right after the break, Wade continues to cover water and catch boatloads of biting bass. The conditions are set up just right for a fantastic day of fishing. Keep it tuned here for more.
He bit it that time. He's not gonna be very big. Big guy. Little bitty guy. I think it took him 3 tries to get it. I had been cranking along this grass edge and hadn't had a bite in about 45 minutes to an hour. And man, I saw a lot of fish on the edge of that grass on some of these little secondaries, and tied on the old watermelon candy soft plastic jerk bait, the DWG Gamakatsu. I hopped it around and I felt a tap and didn't get anything. I felt another tap, didn't feel anything after that. And then that one ate it, but I'm sure the ones that didn't eat it were at least 4 pounds. I'm gonna stick to that story. You know, as I kept going further and further, winding and throwing that crankbait, I'd spent about an hour now. I caught a couple of little ones on it. Really hadn't had any more bites. The grass just wasn't right. I was picking up a lot of slime. I kept looking at that water temperature and I'm seeing 61 and it's early in the morning, and I keep thinking, I'm like, man, they're either in these cattails spawning or in the backs of these spawning pockets. And so we kind of started navigating around, started trying to cover some water, ran into a few pockets, and I got into this one spawning pocket, and I'd fished it a couple times, you know, in the last 10 years. I knew there was a good pocket. I knew there should be some fish in there, and I kind of set up to kind of go down more down the middle. And I, you know, was still cranking a little bit. Now I'd grabbed my little swim bait. The water was clear as I was getting back there, and magic started happening after that. Gosh, no, got him. A little better one there. A little better one eating the old swim bait. Maybe these fish are in the middle of these pockets trying to get back here to spawn. Oh, that's a good one. Dandy. Oh, I love that little swim bait in these pockets like that where it's less than 3 foot of water. Got scattered clumps of grass all out through here. That's probably a big old long male right there. Old guy. Thank you, buddy. It's such a simple bait. I've got a Gamakatsu nanotechnology straight J hook here. That's actually a 2/0 and a little small swim bait. You know, I mean, you can throw big swim baits out there in that deep water, but when I get up shallow and I'm hunting them, that's the size I like to use. Usually when I first feel the bite on this style of fishing, I like to give them a second and then try to just keep that bait moving in my mind, turn that crank 1 or 2 more times, and then you'll really feel them after that. And if you can no longer feel that tail wiggling in the water, or you no longer, you know, you can kind of feel difference in there, that's when I'm gonna drive that hook home, because they'll hit this bait several times over and over when they miss it. You know, you just keep it moving. I don't like to kill it. I don't like to stop it. I want it moving, get that tail getting some side to side swimming action, and then, you know, when I feel it loaded up or I can't feel it, or I feel like I'm caught up with it a lot of times, because I fish it with a little bit of a bow in my line all the time. I'm throwing 16-pound Sunline sniper here. Man, that's a good example. I mean, I felt that fish load up on him, bite it pretty hard, and thump. That's a pretty decent one too. Golly, that's fun. That is so fun. Come here, darling. About got you whooped. Let's lift you up here and let you go. Nice one right there. That's so fun. Just so fun when you can wind into them and feel one tick, whack, boom, got him. Use the pliers to pull this one out a little bit. Lift her right in the tongue. Gotta have a good set of pliers when you're fishing like this to help drive them out. Solid little chunker. Appreciate you. All right, so we have destroyed this little bait here. He's done good work for us. We've had 6 bites on it. These little swim baits, I mean, you can go to Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's and pick them up. I throw a lot of colors like this a lot of different times. I mean, it really mimics bait fishing about anywhere you're gonna be fishing. And I mean, I always, when I say always, I have one tied on 12 months out of the year. It's just a good way to cover water and catch fish. I mean, this is my actual collection that I keep in the boat. I have a lot of them at home. Several different brands, several different styles that I like to use when we're out here fishing. But I mean, that's probably one of my favorites right there. When that water temperature starts to warm up, and today is one of those days, really the last 2 or 3 days, it's been in the 80s. And They just migrate down these little creeks and drains and ditches into these spawning pockets, and this is just a classic scenario. We're power poled down right in the middle of one, and just kind of making repetitive casts across that water and getting some bites. You gotta love it. I mean, it's so cool when you dial something in and you know what the fish are gonna be doing and you can replicate it. And this was one of those days that the water's getting warmer and warmer and warmer as the day goes on. Those fish are making a push into some of these spawning pockets to kind of get set up. I'm just power poled down, fan casting, getting bite after bite, after bite. I might go 5-6 casts without a bite, and then I'd catch another one. That to me is when you have used past experience with what's going on and you got it dialed in, and you know you're gonna catch them. I actually missed that fish on the cast before. I kind of changed up my angle and started throwing to the side of the boat that time. He's gonna get mean when he gets to the boat. No, he didn't. Come here, buddy. Boy, he choked on. He took that Swimbait all the way down there. If that's the same one that missed it on the cast before, and it was pretty much a repetitive cast. I've seen that happen so many times. You throw out and you feel that tick, feel that bump, you see the swirl sometimes. And I just made a pretty similar cast and boop, got him. Couldn't believe I didn't catch him the first time he bit it so hard. I mean, really probably all we're doing is just reeling this right above their heads, and they're darting off of a bed or off a depression or a little hump in the grass or wherever to ambush it. And they're looking up. I'm not trying to tick the grass like I do the crankbait or the chatter bombs or stuff like that. I'm just trying to draw a reaction strike by reeling this little Swimbait right above their head. Drop the power poles down. Got us one here that's got a little bit more shoulders to him. He's a little madder. Come here, buddy. Gosh, that's fun. Woo! Barely had him hooked. Kept that pressure on him. Got him on in here. So fun. Never gets old right there. Most simple rig there is. Basic Texas. I say it all the time. Put it in a little bit. Pull it up to the jig. Pinch it forward so that everything stays nice and straight. That makes it weedless. There's a lot of grass back here, a little bit of coontail, and then I let my little weight slide free like that, and it just goes through the cover great. Throwing 16-pound Sunline sniper for today. I mean, I've thrown it on 20 a lot of times too, especially when I have more of a hardwood cover, but around that grass you can get away with this pound test all day long. One right there. Well, I was just about to move to another spot and take my sweatshirt off. Got a little buck here. I'm trying to find us another spawning pocket like this one. Try to recreate the same thing. We'll come back here this afternoon. There'll be a whole nother wave of fish move up into this, set up. Now we kind of even know how the grass lays out, where the little ditch is that comes in, and we'll likely be able to catch a couple more fish on this exact same spot. But now the temperatures are cruising up about 75. It's time to take this sweatshirt off, make a move, see if we can't find a new spot to catch some.
Air temperatures are warming up and the bite is hot. After this quick break, we bring you more great fishing action. The conditions are set up just right for Wade to continue to reel in more bass. Don't go away.
Gotcha. Ah, it's so fun. So we ran across, we were gonna hit this other pocket over here, but there's a boat sitting right in the middle of it doing the same thing we're probably doing, you know, targeting fish that are moving up to a drain. So we're gonna start out here, go back through the same pocket that we hit. You know, we caught all those fish out of. I really wanted to give it an hour or two to kind of reload. More fish will move in as the day goes on. The temperature this afternoon is supposed to be 84. But I'm gonna start out here a little deeper. I kind of know now that the ditch runs a little bit on the right, see if I might not, you know, stumble into a big pre-spawn female out here deeper, and then kind of work my way back into the back. We'll see what happens. I mean, you know, we may have really worked on those fish and we need to let it rest, but I don't really want to leave this into the lake right now because there's obviously fish. God. Classic. Throwing water all over me, little guy. Thank you. Go back, grow up. Classic. Getting ready to go to the bed spawning scenario. Moving up into a pocket. Feeding up. I don't know what else I could say except I just want to catch about 10, 15, 20 more. Ditches and drains off of creek channels or the little creek channel that runs into a pocket, for instance, are key highways for fish. I look at them on my map and I look to see how far it goes up on land a lot of times. I want to see if is it a big one or just a little flat one coming in there. You know, if you drive down the highway and you look at a ditch to the side of the road, you can kind of see how it lays out. Under the water is the same situation. You're gonna have a bend, you're gonna have a twist, you're gonna have a turn, and sometimes you're gonna find a depression in there where you could have a hard spot, could be some stumps, could be a little deeper water, and that's where those fish are gonna kind of set up. They might even spawn right there in that same spot. You wanna look at that and cover that water and color code it on your Garmin to be able to find the spots a little bit. And it'll lead you in there. And lastly, use the live scope to be able to determine where that ditch and the deeper water is. You can scan around there and you see one spot that's a little deeper, kind of migrate that way, cast to the shallow stuff, reel it over the deep stuff. Hold on. Come here, big fish. There's a better one here. I think we got us some much better fish here. Oh yeah. Pulled into a pocket that probably hasn't been quite as abused. That's a good one right there. Look at that. Come here, girl. Come here. Gotcha. Oh, that's so fun. Water temperature is just climbing up like crazy today. These kind of fish are just moving up and getting aggressive. That's a good one right there. Boy, that was fun. That fish there was dogging it from the moment I set the hook. It just was me hit in hand-to-hand combat. That was so fun. Go back, do your thing, make lots of babies, and we'll catch you again. You know, I'm throwing a small swim bait. I throw big ones at times, but in this condition, when these fish are just moving up and I'm wanting to cover water, I mean, the wind's blowing 15, 18 miles an hour, maybe more today. It's hard to sit out here and throw a wacky worm or a soft plastic stick bait, which would be another great way to catch them on a day like this. I can wind this, I can cover a lot of ground. I mean, we blasted them. Started with a crankbait, caught like 3 fish, messed around, caught one on a Texas rig, caught about 30 on this, and there've been some good ones. Fun fishing right there. That's what you use your mapping for, to find another spot. That's awesome.
And with that, we'll conclude this episode of the Bass Pro Shop's Fisherman's Handbook. On the next show, we'll return back to the same lake as water temperatures warm and the bass move shallow to spawn. Tune in to see how Wade targets these fish with slower presentations and still finds great success. We hope that you gain some valuable knowledge that'll help you get more bites on your next fishing trip. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. This has been a Carico TV production.